Thank you. Okay, so you can all hear me. First of all, do you want me to continue in English? Raise your hands. Yeah, okay, let's do it in English. I'll try my best. I have way too many slides, and my brain doesn't work as fast in English, but I'll try my best. Hopefully, we won't be too much over time. So my name is Jari, and I'm super glad to be back here on Digitalist stage. And once again, I'm here to talk about social media. And this time, I'm going to talk about how our buying behavior is changing because of social media. How many of you have bought some product or service through social media? Raise your hands. Okay. How many of you have bought that product or service so that you have stayed on that platform or on that feed, on that social media channel that you were seeing that product on? Raise your hands again. That is the type of social commerce that we're going to be talking about today, in which you'll buy straight from those channels in which you'll spend your time anyway. And we see that many of the channels have already been going in this direction. Pinterest is one of the first movers towards this direction. As early as last summer, they had these types of buyable pins in which you can see the blue Buy Now button. They had over 60 million of these buyable pins in which you could just buy straight from Pinterest. You see something you like, you just click on that. Without leaving Pinterest, you just choose the color of the dress or whatever, and then it's delivered to you. And by comparison, for example, Tori.fi on that same year, last year, had about 7 million things on sale altogether. So 60 million as of last summer, that's quite a large number. Pinterest has in addition to this, have been adding different kinds of features to support this. They, for example, send you alerts in your email if a pin that you've pinned becomes on sale. So that's handy. They also curate these kinds of collections of these buyable pins in which you can find pillows or bedding or whatever you're looking for. Instagram, with their sponsored ads, have been moving towards this direction for the past 2 years, although they've chosen thus far to do it on an external site, so you can't yet buy straight from Instagram, so you need to leave the platform. Despite this, many brands have embraced this way how we use Instagram to browse for ideas and inspiration, and they've set up different kinds of stores that are somehow leveraged by everything that they have on Instagram. Facebook, of course, doing a lot of social commerce activities. One of the recent additions is the sale groups functionality that you can see on the navigation on the left-hand side, in which you'll see a compiled list of all these sales, sell, buy, recycle types of groups that you may have near you. Twitter, of course, they have had the donate or buy or whatever, that type of button for quite a while now. And as of last week, Snapchat added a new social commerce functionality to their Discover channel, in which the Cosmopolitan Discover channel had 2 different ads, one for Target and one for Lancome, a 10-second ad in which you could buy products straight on Snapchat. I myself have been working with social media ever since the term itself was introduced in Finland and brands started thinking about what they should do with that new medium. And to me, this integration of commerce into those discussions that we're used to having on social media is probably the most interesting change we've seen on social media thus far. And obviously, all these channels are putting quite a lot of effort into making these kinds of functionalities work. But the big question is not whether I'm interested in that, but whether the consumers are actually willing to buy straight from those channels in which they are now spending their time on and having those conversations. With this in mind, we've done a couple of studies, research, to kind of like a glimpse into the brain of the Finnish consumer, what they're thinking about this whole thing, the social commerce. To begin with, social media is of course a big thing in Finland. This is from a research that we did with Maikkari at the turn of the year. So we all know that people in Finland are avid users of social media. But when we did this study, we also dug deeper into social commerce itself. And here we have some numbers that haven't been published elsewhere before this, so you'll be the first one to see these. Thinking about the buying funnel, how consumers find things that they're interested in and how they actually buy those and what they do after that moment when they've purchased it. We asked people how they've acted on social media. 38% said that they have found some product or service interesting because they've seen it on social media. 16% said that they've actively searched for information via social media, whether it be from friends or whether it be from brands straight from those companies that they would like some information on their products. 8% have already bought something from social media. And 8% also have shared their experiences about a product or a service via social media. So this is kind of like the funnel of social media, the social shopping, how people in Finland see and feel and what they've done thus far. And the 8%, the above one, 8% of people who have bought via social media, that's a big number considering the fact that these kinds of functionalities that we looked through in the beginning haven't really been introduced to Finland. They are mostly still restricted to the United States. You can only buy this if you live in the States. A company can only use this feature if you are in the United States. So 8% is quite good. But we wanted to dig deeper also into how people actually perceive the fact that they would soon have the possibility to buy straight from the social media channels that they're using their time on. How would that feel? And in a research project called Kuluttajakäyttäytymisen digitaalisuus, which we run with Maikkari and Laurea ammattikorkeakoulu, we did a research that was just published last week, in which we had interviews with different consumers regarding how they feel about this type of possibility to buy straight from these channels. On the positive note, people find that it would be easy not to leave those channels, and of course that's what we're looking for. If we are already spending time on Pinterest to find ideas for our interior design project, why not buy that pillow straight from that Pinterest board in which we've already pinned? And what is the biggest question that they have? Of course, as it is always with online stores, how credible they feel. Do they feel secure? This quote especially is quite interesting. People have the feeling that they've already given Facebook quite a lot of information about themselves. How would they feel giving them more information about their bank accounts, credit card numbers, stuff like that? So these two things, the easiness, and on the other side, the credibility, how would they feel? Would they feel comfortable giving those informations? And of course, the types of products, the categories that we would be using when asked what would you see yourself buying, are more like those sofa cushions than the sofas themselves. But this type of forward thinking asking consumers how they would feel that they would behave in the future, that only gets us halfway. We need to think where the social media itself is headed. And that's what's interesting. And as we all know, these types of open social media channels, such as Twitter, have been on the decline, while these walled garden types of social media channels, social instant messaging services such as WhatsApp, they've been on the rise. And these kinds of social media instant messaging services is where the shift to social commerce will most probably happen. And it has a new name. It's dubbed recently, conversational commerce. And what it means is that on these WhatsApp, Slack, Snapchat type of services in which we're having conversations with a restricted and limited number of people, more on a personal level, on those channels we'll be having those possibilities to do the online shopping. Not so much on those Instagram posts. This is where that will happen. And one important word here that I would like to highlight is the bots. It will be happening by combining the customer service people, the personnel, and the artificial intelligence of bots. It will be some kind of a combination of the two. And this type of services you can see already. Facebook, in their F8 event a month ago or so, they revealed their messenger bot store. And there's a lot of talk in Silicon Valley how the bots will become the new apps. So that's what you should be focusing on. And these messenger bots can, in the United States, for the time being, you can, for example, use them to order an Uber. So without leaving these channels that you're most using, as Elias said, we have like 5 to 6 apps that we use on our phones. So we want to get into those apps. Uber wants to get into those apps. KLM wants to get into those apps. They recently launched this new feature on the Messenger platform in which you'll get all the flight documentation that you need. In addition to that, you have a straight connection to the customer service personnel. So this is where there is a chance for selling more to the customer. Think about you're at the airport. You're in a rush. You didn't have the time to take the lunch. And then at the same time, this bot sends you an automated message. We're having this coq au vin on our flight today. Would you like to purchase it in advance for 10 euros? Just press and it's yours. So with the press of a button, you can easily buy something for you in that same channel in which you're already spending your time in. So Facebook Messenger is one to keep an eye on. But in addition to that, if you really want to be on the cutting edge in this, look to the east. Because WeChat, KakaoTalk, and Line are the channels that have been doing this very well for quite a while. And they are gaining revenue from their users, something that WhatsApp can only dream of, or Twitter, or the like. In these channels, people are buying like crazy. They're ordering taxis, pizzas, whatever. So that's where you should turn your eyes to if you want to be on the cutting edge with conversational commerce. So, to summarize, social media channels are gearing towards social commerce. They've built new functionalities and they will be building them all the time. The Finnish consumer is quite ready to this type of new commerce. Of course, there are questions, but there are always questions with new things. And most probably, it will happen in these social media instant messaging services, and it will be called conversational commerce. And as a last note,
One more thing.
I have like 35 seconds. As a last note, if you're in sales, I would suggest you make friends with the customer service department because they will be doing your job. And of course, if you're in the customer service department, make friends with those bots. Thank you.
Thank you, Jari.